Nigeria continues to grapple with persistent failures of its national electricity grid, exposing long-standing weaknesses in the country's power sector. Now, despite an installed generation capacity of more than 13,000 megawatts, the grid often struggles to transmit even half of that supply, leading to repeated blackouts across the nation. Now, the government says the core problem lies in transmission. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has proposed a grid asset management company and is seeking to revive the presidential power initiative with Siemens Energy to modernize infrastructure and expand delivery capacity. Officials stress that progress on these reforms will be critical to stabilizing supply and supporting economic growth. However, joining me right now to discuss this and more is Dr. Idowu Oyebanjo. Is the MD at Powering Engineering Consultants Limited. I also, of course, have this evening Dr. Sam Amadi, is the former chairman of NERC. He joins from Abuja virtually, and Jide Ologun is a legal practitioner. Of course, is with me live in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let me start with you, Dr. Amadi. Dr. Amadi, I mean, you're former chairman of NERC, right? And just this year, Nigeria has experienced a power grid. I mean, this is the third month in 2026, and we've had collapse about twice, if I am correct. I'm trying to sort of get the exact dates right now. Twice this year. Last year, it happened multiple times. I mean, this is contrary to the promise that the government has made over and over. We know that when this reform started, they even put it in band. There is band A, there is band B, there is band C. Even band A right now, some of them are beginning to doubt if they still belong to that space. So what exactly is going on?
Well, thank you for having me. But for respect for this central, I've said that I don't want to be talking about Nigerian power. So when people invite me to come and talk about the power sector, I'd like to decline because it's like annoying discussing this all the time. Again, I also feel that people say, what's going on? What is going on is bad leadership, clear. I mean, either you measure it, the number of outages, blackouts, so sometimes not full blackout is very discouraging. And the frequency is very high. But again, bigger picture here. When we left office in 2015, December, it took quite a long time, over 6 months before the Buhari administration was able to put together the simple thing of new commissioners. I recall several times I went to the president and said, this we will time out on so date. Nothing happened. The first commissioner chairman refused, declined, and so on and so forth. Now, the point I want to make is that there has been a very recurrent case of bad leadership in the sector. From the minister to all the institutions, there has been low quality, in my view, really, regulatory policy, and it affects operational. So I would say there's a degrade of a sort in the management of the sector because it's difficult to, when they privatize, the first initial takeoff, by now, there should be smoother sale. Some of the problems should be solved. Like Fashola tried to say, incremental power. Would have seen incremental capacity growth. Would have seen incremental decline or reduction in frequency of outages, of blackouts, and so on and so forth. But we're not seeing that. So my first point is, look, it doesn't seem to me that the leader of the government, from Buhari to Tinubu, seriously want to depoliticize the power sector.
All right.
With all due respect, the minister there now maybe a very professional guy in other sectors, but it seems to have no commitment and competence in this sector, and probably gone in for political appointment, election and order.
All right, I'm going to pick it from there, Doctor. I'm going to pick it from there. You said that what seems to be lacking consistently is the political will. I'm going to direct the same question to Dr. Oyebanjo, who is with me in the studio. Of course, looking at all of these challenges, the failed promises, the constant blackouts, the investment into that sector, yet we still come back to complaining in terms of efficiency.
Well, as Dr. Amadi said, meritocracy is an important aspect of power system development. and putting square pegs in square holes, if you may, is so important. Power system planning is critical. It's not done. This is the process of using network modeling tools to analyze power system development and to determine exactly what to install and where on the power system. And this has to be done for you to get a stable power system. Also, you need what we call protection. Coordination of protection is so critical. You have protection system in Nigeria, they are malfunctioning, they are not coordinated, and so you cannot have a stable power system. You will always have a wobbling power system. So 3 key things: meritocracy, power system planning, system coordination, the use of SCADA, that is control system, and of course the decentralization of the system. This will assist.
All right. Let me bring it to you, Barrister Ologun. I mean, your take on this, particularly on the issue of political willpower.
Thank you very much. And that is a good approach for me because I want to go historical a bit. The attempt to introduce electricity to Nigeria started in 1886 by the European colonialists in Lagos. And by 1898, a plant was installed in Lagos. By 1950, we had the Nigerian electricity one set up. By 1972, we had the NEPA set up, 2005, the PACN. But let me go back to the national grid that is of major concern now. The national grid was put in place as far back as 1962, spearheaded by one engineer, Clement. So you should expect that if we have been strategic in engaging leadership in the country, by now we should be like Egypt, that has achieved offering 100% access to electricity to the citizens. But we have the leadership gap. We've had several promises. Now we are talking about Siemens. During the tenure of former President Muhammadu Buhari, we saw all the signing of these agreements and the order. I just believe that we do not value having prosperity in Nigeria. If you look at the socio-economic impact of not being able to provide electricity. Yeah, we speak about the decadent state of the infrastructure, then with the SCADA that Dr. just mentioned, we don't have a robust one. We have the metering gaps, we have this argument between generation and transmission. But on the 8th of June, 2023, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces signed the Nigerian Electricity Act, which has given the states the leverage to go into this by empowering private sector investment. And IBA State has done very well in driving that process. Why must we remain on this national grid that keeps collapsing? You see,
that's a pivotal question. But before we go on break, I'm still staying with you, sir. Do Nigerians, because I know that since they put, various bands, band A, band B, there was some sort of social contract between the electricity providers and the consumers, right? For instance, band A, you are to get, I think, about 20 hours of electricity supply. If there's a shortfall, there's a breach of contract there. Now, from a legal perspective, as a consumer, if I get less than what has been agreed, because I'm paying premium, can I fight back?
Yes, you can. In fact, you are expected to petition, and you should be downgraded to the band that suits what is provided and be compensated.
Be compensated.
Exactly.
So as a customer,
in fact, right now, NEC has directed discos to compensate citizens on this metering with about 20.33 billion naira. You see, but will this be implemented? What we have in Nigeria is that implementation ecosystem that is very weak. So the citizens, quite a number of times, are vulnerable to the malpractices of some of these agencies. It's in the news now. about 20.33 billion naira to be refunded to citizens by way of compensation by crediting their account. And it has to start from the 1st of March, 2026 till the end of the year, 12 months. But how many of the discos will comply with that? We've spoken about estimated billing. We've spoken, different kinds
issues
of crises, like Dr. Amadi has said. So leadership is critical. And I respect the position of Doctor talking about meritocracy. Pragmatism also is key. Engage these problems.
We'll come back to these issues. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we would, of course, talk about infrastructure and also the issue of metering, which has continued to, of course, elicit conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. I still have my guest with me. Now, Dr. Oyebanjo, because we are gradually winding down, before we go, I know that Barrister Ologun was trying to educate Nigerians on some of their rights. Maybe there are some things he left out. For instance, what I can do should the transformer in my area get bad. Should it be the people or the community that should put money together? What can they do? I mean, issues like that the average Nigerian faces.
There's several issues, and the particular one you mentioned now is a case in point where customers are made to contribute money to buy power assets. And this is illegal. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has banned this, but the implementation, nobody is following up, like Mr. Ologun said earlier. It is the implementation that we have as problem. People still buy transformers and they are adopted and taken over by the utilities. Now that's robbing Peter to pay Peter, in that case. So it's illegal. And the only way I think this can be resolved is to bring down to the decentralization, so that the state electricity market will look after the citizens of the state and take these issues as very, very important and ban them, and ban things like estimated billing and so on and so forth.
All right. Dr. Amadi, just quickly, for you, sir, I would also like to ask, I mean, there are talks about states producing and being able to generate their own power. But some Nigerians are asking, do all the states truly even have the capacity to do so? And at what cost will this, go up? I mean, how feasible do you think this is?
The grid is a good idea, but like many things in Nigeria, good ideas without rigor and without sequencing. I don't think all states can, at this point, or should actually try to have their own grid. I think, and even if they do, this idea of having independent regulatory commissions across the whole state doesn't make much sense. Some states will get it right. Abia is doing well. Lagos will obviously get it right. If they work hard, they have the resources and the confident environment, the big suppliers, the big market. Enugu is leading now. Some states will get it right, but some other states should be on the grid, and some states should come together and form a regional market. So the notion, oftentimes it turns into contract, turns into appointments, creating bodies without structure. And I advise a couple of those states, and I say, start with building capacity. Some of you can do embedded generation. Put it into the existing disco, create more power, bring investors, and gradually you move to a stage where you can now decouple from national grid. So the problem with Nigeria is, like the Pope says, shallow learning is a dangerous thing. We don't have deep knowledge. We don't pay attention to rigor. We take the optics and we sign off on the protocol soundbite. Or we have an electricity market in Imo, in Jigawa, in Kogi. How viable? I would not look at these problems as dynamic and also connected to a strategic idea of development. So what do you have? What do you need to do? So some states will discover they don't need to create their own market. They just need to have the capacity to build in more power into their grid, discuss with the disco, create some kind of ownership or structure, and then make sure that those power are dropped in their state so that they still have power. So I would argue that we should make haste slowly and be thorough, be more rigorous, and look at what works, pragmatic in some states, but also study how errors have happened in India, Chile, other markets that had crisis, California. The way you study a lot, then you'll be able to see what works in your own, and what to do first, second, third. It's stage, just like we privatize without first, getting the regulations right. We privatize without first getting capacity.
Right.
If you look at UK elsewhere, they have capacity. Then they privatize to make those capacity efficient and to free public finance for other things. But you want to use private sector to create all the capabilities that government should have created. So make haste slowly, I would say.
All right, thank you very much. For you, Barrister Ologun, in 30 seconds, how would you rate the current Minister of Power?
If you answer that question in the boardroom, by virtue of returns on investment, I would say, and decently so, very poor. Very poor. Nigerians do not.
But some will say he brought in the idea of the ban thing, which
you are not rewarded.
Sort of saw
you are not rewarded for ideas. You are rewarded for results. We don't know the impact of this on businesses. Several losses, to investors. I mean, we are not all politicians. Nigerians pay heavily for this lack of energy. And I make bold to say that. And it's a possible venture in Nigeria. But they say where there is a will, there is a way. But I have no issues with the minister. I address my President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces respectfully so. It's my wish that in your own tenure, we probably join the league of countries like the US, where they have 24/7 electricity, so that we can return to prosperity in the nation.
All right, gentlemen, I wish we could, of course, expand this conversation, but this is the big time will permit. I'd like to say a big thank you, Dr. Idowu Oyebanjo. He is the MD, IDFON Powering Engineering Consultants Limited. Is with me live in the studio, Dr. Sam Amadi, former chairman of NERC, joining virtually from Abuja, and Barrister Jide Ologun, legal practitioner, with me in the studio here in Lagos. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for your time. That's the beat time will permit today. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can choose to follow me personally at Dakbo Adigboyi.